I think the world of Ohio 45 ACP, but today, I think you lost this every level. Stop here. I'm almost a hurl, and I like both of those items.
Listen, you didn't put Nutella on.
It's 11:59 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
Tonight's episode, Murder by the Numbers.
Good evening. We are going live with the weekly wrap-up, and let me know how the audio is. That's actually the same intro as always. You talking about this one?
It's 11:59 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall.
It's got everything. It's got ninja camps, ninja training camps, because that's a lot of what we're doing here. It's got hot chicks dancing. That happens all the time here. It's got illegal fireworks, because we're raw. And then I guess we have rich people coming in to narc. And the narcs observe what we're doing. It's got everything. All right, so here we go. So there we go. It's the weekly two-way wrap-up. And this week we are digging into the, well, we always dig into the comments on the video that we're looking at right now. Let's see, I've just been working over here on some stuff, so I will close that and get back to the show here. So it was a pretty good week. I've just been going out there. Right on. Thanks for the heads up. Thanks for commenting all the time. Appreciate it. Much appreciated when I see the comments come in. Helps to see that people are out there and the video works. That's always handy. A thumb up is a good indication, I guess, but it's always cool to see a comment, so I do appreciate it. And then especially on those channel posts that go out, so much appreciated. All right, so let's see. We're starting off with, it was a pretty good week. Let's do this. Let's start a poll over here. This is handy, having the polls right here. So should we start now or wait for Gizzard? It looks like more than everybody just said, let's just keep going. Gizzard's over there farting around at this point. So whenever the censorship is over, we'll start another poll. I feel like I should start at Bill's. Oh, shit. I feel like I should be, it's going to let me super chat myself. What a horking situation that would be. So, dang it, I forgot what I was making a poll about. Oh, was this a good week for 2A? That was going to be the poll. Was this a good week for the 2A? You can only vote if you're not a narc. Narcs, as we all know, are not allowed to vote. There's Bob, Piker Bob, Canadian. He's allowed to hang out. Let's see. And he can vote too in our country, because that's the way we run our country. I don't know if Bob's familiar with the polls. It's a new thing YouTube's throwing out there. You go down here, click on these little number thing, this little bar graph, and you can create a poll. So we're going to see what people think. Is this a good week for 2A or not? And then I'll keep digging in, I guess. So let's see. The winner once again was the Locked-In Latinos. Yep, pretty much. Because they did another one of they're just going live. They had planned to have somebody on, and then that dude didn't show up because of a thing. So they went live by themselves for a bit, and it ended up being a 3-hour show. And they went over some video game, which worked out pretty good. A couple of, maybe a dozen people stuck around to watch them play video games. And they played some kind of video game. It was kind of like a movie. It's like watching a James Bond movie, I guess. So mostly you just listen to them chat. And, well, I just went around and did some other stuff. But it was kind of interesting. So for some reason, they only have 500 subs. They are literally the best channel out there. All the other channels suck. and this channel is the good one. So go over there and sub to that one, and you'll be subbed to the good channel. Let's see, we got 1 vote for no. So you'll have to explain why, because I disagree. Next up is what would you wish? 1 minute contest. So this is great start is, oh man, I should not open this up like this. She does these videos every Saturday. This one was not on a Saturday though. So I'm going to go ahead and play it. It's a 1 minute video. We'll talk about it at the end.
Imagine if you found my genie. Given my wish. I wish all the guns in the world were small. And they did. But then, they were small. We still have violence. There were still people. There were still people beating each other to death with their hands and cars and all sorts of horrible things. And I was lucky enough. The genie came back. Okay, bro. Obviously, what rules
Can you hear it?
And I realized after seeing really wanted
Super quiet.
to like
I don't know if you could hear that one. So Brooke does the suicide prevention Saturday, and this was on that channel, but it was just, I don't know if it's a part of something because of the green screen or whatever. But basically, if you can't hear it, she just spends 56 seconds there saying, what if there was a genie and he gave you a wish and you said, I want to get rid of all the guns. And then all the guns were gone and you realize that there's still violence. So then the genie comes back and he says, you screwed it up, right? And he gives you another wish, and then you're going to wish to end the violence, right? So then she says, let's just work on the violence then. And I think it's an interesting message, and it's, you know, going to reach people that I ain't going to be able to reach for damn sure. So put that one in there. She's only got 92 subs because, you know, people don't like anything that's good. Then we got Gun Freedom Radio. They had Rick Ector on. This one, we talked about this last week, didn't we? But no, I guess not. So Rick is doing the, oh, you know why? Because I just did the video this morning, maybe, about Freedom Radio, but whatever. We all know Rick is legally armed in Detroit, laid in Detroit. He brings a whole bunch of ladies together each year and does like a 1-day orientation, familiarization, and handgun training class, and has escalated over the years from dozens of ladies to, I think it's supposed to be over 1,000 ladies this year. It'll be a couple of days, and he brings in a whole bunch of other people. Oh yeah, 2,000 ladies over one weekend last year, and it's going to even be bigger this year. So is it 5,000? I don't know. It's a crazy number. But I've heard a couple of the people that help Rick out do interviews on Riding Shotgun with Charlie and over here on Gun Freedom Radio and the other good podcasts that are out there. So it's cool to see that they are still working on that and getting bigger. This is the 10th anniversary, by the way, so that's going to be cool. Gun Freedom Radio was also, did I put it in here? They were the focus of our 2A Friday kind of live show. Nobody showed up for it live. But we basically spent an hour and a half, I think, going through the 300-something episodes of Gun Freedom Radio. There's no way to do that. So I just went through and kind of discovered. I just went through and, oh, I guess I opened this up for some reason. This was next thing we'll talk about. So I went through Gun Freedom Radio's, what am I trying to say, library, whatever, video list, and we picked the top 10. So there are the top 10 of them over, or top 10 good ones. You might have 10 different ones, but they're 10 decent ones. You can check those out on a video on our channel this morning. Another video on our channel is from Tuesday of this week, and we watched the Pot of Gold auction. It was more of just a regular auction, and I got there late, or I got there late. I guess I don't know. So there wasn't a heck of a lot of guns, but it was some fun. It was pretty fun. They kept selling baseballs with people's names on them. Let's see. We're from Alaska. Well, we're at the other A one. We're at Arizona. Let's see. Oh, that's the wrong thing. No wonder I'm not finding anything. That was Gizzard. I'm now Quark and Gizzard, I guess, if he didn't quit. Is he still going? Yep. So right now we're Quark and Gizzard. Let's see. We're going back down to, that was the auction. Encourage you to check it out. Every Tuesday they have auctions, and there's a lot of cool stuff in those auctions. This next one coming up next week is a bunch of books. So I'm planning on doing a video to dig into some of the auctions. I went through a bunch of them. If I had a bunch of money, I'd be buying the hell out of some of these books. But one of the collections I wanted to do would be, I could make the whole collection out of this book or out of this auction. But we'll see. Sometimes the prices are crazy good, like crazy low, and sometimes they're crazy good for the person selling it. All right, next up is Barbecue. I don't think he's out here today. He doesn't get up this early. But that dude is now doing a new show on Wednesdays, and he's calling it 2A Women Wednesday. And he interviews a new woman every Wednesday.
Hi, everybody. Welcome.
Who is in 2A. And this year, or this inaugural show was Santee TV. That was a pretty awesome show. It's about an hour. And although he had a little glitch getting it started, he does it as a premiere earlier in the day. So in this case, Santee jumped in and was part of the conversation over on the text chat for a good portion of it. Although since the glitch, she wasn't there for the whole. She had planned to be there for the whole one, so it's pretty neat how he's going to do it. That's a lot of ladies. Which one's a lot of ladies? Oh, I can show you a lot of ladies because I got my commercial over here. But we'll show that one in a minute. Let's see. So next up is the Santee TV channel link. We got a link to her channel over here. You can check it out. It is a pretty cool channel. There's lots of people getting into guns, and they already know how to use YouTube. So it's just a whole different situation when they decide to put their YouTube ability and their gun interest together. And well, I don't know what it's like for all y'all, so you'll have to give me some feedback. But I certainly find it interesting to see new groups of people come into guns. Like, I'd be curious to see what Bob would say after watching some of the new gun owners' conversations. Because not only has Bob been around to see tons of people get into guns over the years, but he's also been around for a lot of the internet stuff. I don't know how many of you old people are old. I guess we could do another poll to see how old people are. So right now we only got 3 votes. Holy moly, so we have to do some math here. We're going to flip this to live so we can only see live people, no robots. And then, was this a good week for 2A? Only 2 people voted yes, so we can do the math to figure that out. And 1 person voted no. But what this tells us is there's 3 human beings. We know that this dude's a human being because I've met Bob before. We suspect that this guy's a human being, but we don't know if he's still here. This dude, human being, probably. We don't know. He could be a bot. Looks like a robot. This dude we just said, and then this dude claims to be from Alaska. How do we know there's not snow robots? We don't know about this guy either. So we're not seeing enough numbers over here to verify that there's humans. So here's the deal. Here's how we can figure this all out. There's 8 people watching, and I'm one of them because I'm looking at it right here. Don't get scared of this part. And then there's only 3 votes. And we all know that narcs and robots can't vote because bots can't vote, and narcs are not allowed to vote because their sergeants won't let them. So, boom, we know that there's something like, oh, there's a robot left. So we know that, yeah, you didn't vote. So without votes, we don't have awareness of humans. So we're going to keep voting anyway for the 3 humans that are in here. What was I going to vote on now? Dang it, I was going to go over there and start voting on something, and all the robots distracted me. Was it something about the Santee thing? No, I guess not. It was something. I'll come back to it maybe. All right, so next up is, after the link to the Santee TV channel, is a link to interview, I guess you'd say, that she did with Gun Girls Atlanta, which, again, super cool. Just listening to 2 girls get into chatting about guns. And what's kind of cool is when we first got on the internet, girls would just have to deal with weird online stuff, and that doesn't seem to be a thing no more. That's super cool. So they're just going straight to being online and being able to talk about guns. Of course, they don't realize that it's different than it used to be, but it's awesome to see that they're just thriving in it. Age. Oh yeah, well, it's too weird to ask a bunch of robots how old they are. Are they as old as their software? Are they as old as, the parts that are in them? Are they as old as the chassis? Are they as old as the battery? I don't want to get into it with robots about how old they are. And then they get all weird about how long they're going to live because they're like, oh, well, what if my sprocket stays around for, gets incorporated into a meteor? Does that mean I live on? Robots are weird. Next up is Gold Star Widow's Fight for the Truth. Michelle Black on Mic Drop. So we definitely talked about this one last week, and I said this will probably be good. Quit it. I said it's probably going to be good, but I hadn't listened to it yet. I think it took me till about here to figure out this one was a good one, and this chunk of it is pretty cool. So we definitely, if you've listened to all these military podcasts or if you've lived through this kind of stuff, then you definitely get a lot of the view from the military side, right? Whoever the dude is usually doing the job or whatever, and these interviews talk to him. And then depending on the dude, they have a awareness and a point of view that includes their wives and their kids and stuff, or less, or not even. And in this case, the guy died. She's a Gold Star widow. So that's something I'm not sure. Do you say Gold Star widow or do you say Gold Star wives? Because I've seen it like officially as Gold Star wives, but I suspect the more polite or like nice way of saying it perhaps is Gold Star widow. But I'm not sure because either way I don't know if you can win sometimes. So in this case though, she has an awesome interview talking about her relationship with her husband, like period, and then their whatever you want to say, like experience joining the military and when they did, which is always interesting because everybody joins for different reasons. And when somebody can articulate that with I don't know if it's a unique perspective, but articulate their perspective well, which she does, that's super interesting. But then we also get the insight of what it's like for the wife while the dude is over doing whatever business needs to be did. So super interesting. And then the specifics of the situation that her husband was lost, that's most of the chunk of the end here. So it's a good one. And it's not like exploitive, and it's not like listening to somebody's therapy. It's not fun because it's about a somber situation that has, bad outcome, period. But the best we can hope for is to learn from things like that and to gain awareness. And that's definitely what Mike does with this. Awesome. Really, definitely worth listening to it. I just don't want to put it on here as like, here's a bunch of stuff to listen to. Like, seriously, if you want to like grow and expand, this is a good one. Listening to the female side of the whole thing is great. By itself, it might not be as impactful, but after with awareness or after listening to a bunch of these other stories and stuff, it's really neat. And I'm hoping that there's going to be more of that. She doesn't really talk about that. She talks about some other stuff she's working on, but I definitely see an opening for that. And I'm assuming that gap will be filled, right? Do we have a poll running? So why don't we do a poll based on, is Gizzard still going? Based on Gizzard. So which of Gizzard's shows is better? You got your Friday night show, which is, I believe it's called Foul Territory, or you got the Sunday show, Early Bird, or whatever it's called. So, boom. Oh, is it? It's running live on mine over here still. Ain't I on live? Oh, I ain't on live. Oh, you know what? It probably jumped to a different one. Yeah, it jumped ahead to another one. Right, well, he at some point ended here, but he was live for a minute. All right, so now we got a poll going. You're going to get a commercial because I got to drink some water, and we don't just leave you hanging like a lot of shows when I got to drink water. All right, well, you know what I didn't do is get any water before the show. So now you're getting, oh, that's the wrong mouse. Now you're going to get a commercial from the DC Project, which is an awesome group of ladies, and they'll tell you all about it after this dude mansplains the beginning of it.
The DC Project, 50 women descending on our nation's capital to put a face on the Second Amendment.
For me, the Second Amendment is about family heritage.
To defend against hate crimes.
My right to protect my family.
Gives me the right to decide when I need protection.
Because you should never be denied a chance to protect yourself and your loved ones.
My firearm levels the playing field against someone trying to hurt me.
It means survival.
My responsibility.
I am my own first responder.
Because some believe no means yes.
It's a peace of mind.
Provide food for my family.
Recreation and sport.
Confidence that I can take care of myself.
My right to life.
It's my liberty.
I refuse to be a victim.
The protection of my children.
Confidence in our nation's present and future.
Legacy.
Legacy.
And legacy.
My birthright as an American.
And mine too.
All right, so there's like 4 ladies that I can't just identify off the top of my head on it. All right, so I got 2 of these things where you fill up the pitcher with water on the top, and then there's a thing that's like a filter, and then it pours out the bottom eventually. And both of those still have water in the top, and I was out of water. That's how much water I'm drinking. That's a lot of water. So in other words, I'm drinking it faster than the filters gravity can suck water through a filter. So that was Michelle Black, I guess is her name. Next up is the overnight. So there's this one dude named Faas who doesn't come around here no more, but he does a show every other Saturday. I call it Saturday. Some people technically call it Sunday morning, which is weird. That would mean you'd get up really early, which doesn't make any sense. So it's overnight. And it's this week was the episode is called Disabilities and Guns. And Wield didn't show up. I see Wield didn't show up here tonight either. So I don't know what's up with that. But the barbecue was there. Somebody else was there. Maybe was there 4 people there? I don't remember. So that's all right. We understand you blame it on Gizzard. So that was the show. You only get it every other week. So it only has to be half as good as all the other shows to be twice as good as the shows that are on every week. Brilliant. So you can watch that show. Then we get this one, which is, what's his face? Not this guy. I don't know who this guy is. What is this? What is this? Is this an ad? What is this an ad for? Being old? I'm not going to be old. So this guy is on this thing called Townhall Media, which I can't figure out what it is. It has 250,000 subs. Right, so he comes on here and talks with this other guy who I don't know who he is from the Reload, and they basically talk about all these reasons why Chipman may not be a sure thing. So maybe we'll do that one up here. Oh, that's interesting. We're seeing more people voting for the Friday night show. I wonder if that's influenced because they just came from that show. Or did Gizzard just give away something so good over there? Is he offering bribes or something? Oh, now it just went to 50-50. Let's go do the math over here. We got 6 voters on this, and you're watching this live as we're voting, so there's no excuses here, right? And 16 watching. This is unprecedented. That means that there's 9 narcs watching this. 9 robotic, what would you call them? They're not really cyborgs because that would mean they might have a human heart or soul. So they're more like robots, except they're robots that are programmed to work for the jackboots. Call them narcs. So it looks like we got 8 votes out of 18. That's still 9 narcs out there, lurking around, looking over everybody's shoulder. Oh, there's Wheeled. So welcome. You'll be featured later on the show also without being called out. Appreciate the thumbs. I'll take all the thumbs. We don't want any robot thumbs. I don't think robots can thumb. Well, maybe they can. It makes no sense. Anyway, we're about to end this poll. It's 50-50. That doesn't even help Gizzard. What if this was a landslide in one way or the other? Now Gizzard could decide, oh, I'm going to quit doing one of my shows. Instead, he has to now do both of his shows endlessly because he doesn't know which one is more useful. Ugh, how horrible for Gizzard. But at least we get a Gizzard show forever now. All right, so 8 votes. I'm going to do quick math and say that was 4 votes for each one. That's what we're sticking with. All right, so the overnight. Oh no, it was Chipman. So what was I going to say about that guy at Townhall Media? What's up with Townhall Media? Let's do a poll on Townhall Media. Townhall Media, comma, what's up with that? Do you watch and I could type even more stuff in there. So I could type his name incorrectly. Maybe even, I don't know if that's right or not. Is Townhall one word? Who cares? Yes or no, or who is Cam? Okay, boom. There we go. Now we have a new poll. Unlike chats that don't care about your opinion, all we care about is your opinion. We don't do anything on this chat without your opinion. All right, next up is that whole thing about Chipman. Oh, and then we'll probably do some kind of poll about Chipman. I'll make a note of it right here. Can we call him Chippy now? I'm going to call him Chippy. And then we've got Range Cortes episode 4. This is episode where he talks to his friend Thrash and Raid. Pretty interesting. I'm getting that Ranger Cortes, well, OG Pumpkin is going to end up repeating himself a lot, which is fine. His goal on this podcast isn't to do a typical podcast. He's had really good success, and he's enjoying helping getting people through the offering answers and questions, or answering questions for people and offering advice on how to get through different how to get into different areas of the military. So that kind of stuff can be super cool for people who don't have a big brother or a friend or something. And, well, I don't know. We'll do another poll here in a second. Maybe not. I don't know how many people are in the military. Let's see a show of hands. If there's enough people in the military, then we'll do a show of hands, or we'll do a military poll. But we don't have to make it a military thing if there's nobody in here who's been in the military. You don't have to say what branch or nothing, but anyway, it's just interesting to hear what it's like for dudes who've been in recently, are still focused on it because it changed their lives, and it's cool. The military is allowed to change their life. I don't know if it changed my life. Well, it did, I suppose, but not in the same way for sure. So anyway, these guys have a passion for this, and they're able to pass that on to these other kids. It's freaking amazing. So anyway, listening to these guys talk about their stories is totally worth it. Again, I don't just put stuff in here because I got nothing else to do. This is worth changing your perspective on stuff. And OG Pumpkin is a gangster kid living on the streets, poor, grows up, meets his girlfriend when they were like in 7th grade. He's doing gangster shit and being a bad kid. Decides to, I think he saw, if I remember the story right, he's seen some guy who seemed like had his shit together. It turns out he was a ranger, so he pursued it, figured out it was tough, pursued it, got it, did it, worked with special ops for a bit, came back, appreciated his kids, started to help the community. He's on his way to being a nutritionist and turning all of his free time and all of his extra money back into the community of Southern California and the military community. So really cool podcast, definitely worth listening to. Then we'll get into Dragonman here in a second. Nobody's saying anything, so we won't bother doing a military poll. So Who is Cam Edwards? Counts as a no. So I'm guessing that turns, there's no way to do the math, but it turns into 74% no's, 25% yeses. So we can tell that there's a fake vote going on here. You know what that was? You know why this doesn't add up to 100? Robots are narcs. They voted and they can't deal with it. It does, you know, they're using a non-binary system, and they're trying to put hexadecimal into a binary system. It just doesn't work. And now that's what we get, is a lost vote. Now we know that there's voting errors because you can just add it up right there. 62 and 12 is 74 and 25. That's not even 100. Fake votes. We know that it's fake. A robot tried to vote, or maybe a narc tried to vote. We don't know. Probably a robot. All right, well, we'll leave that one end because nobody cares about Cam Edwards, it turns out. Cam Edwards is some guy. I don't know. I think he used to run NRA Media or something like that. So I don't know. He's that guy that I keep linking to. He does stuff every once in a while that I listen to, and I link on this show. Let's just put it that way. So next up is Dragonman, and I'm going to do a cartoon of Dragonman on his dragon bike, and I've been wanting to do that for a while for the project, and talk about a video made to do that with. Holy moly. So basically, just like this right here is going to be probably what I'm talking about. So this is his dragon bike. That's why they call him Dragonman, because he built this. Well, he's had a couple of them, but he built this bike back in the day. So he's talking about in this video how he's been riding this bike around for 50 years. And in this video, he has these Wonder 9 full auto Colts mounted to his handlebars. And he attempts to do like a drive-by, but something happens, and then they cut, and then he just sits there and shoots them still. Oh, and then I guess he brings out a Glock. So here's the deal. Look at the way Dragonman shoots this thing with his freaking thumb over the back of his hand or whatever that's called. And you can't say shit because he's Dragonman and he's shooting his own legal full auto Glock. But look how he's doing it. Look what his thumb's doing. So what are you gonna say? It's Dragonman. Shoots guns however he feels like. So I guess if you're shooting your gun all weird and somebody gives you shit about it, then tell him shut up because Dragonman can do whatever he wants. And you're doing like what Dragonman does. So Dragonman posts these things. Well, I don't know what his crew must post them, but you know he's involved because he made them come out here and do it. He posts literally every single day. And now Dragonman just shoved a full auto loaded Glock into his pants, not even into a holster or nothing, just into his pants. And now he's going to go drive to breakfast in that motorcycle with loaded, what do you call them? Well, I don't know if they're loaded right now, but with those full auto Colts up front. Dragonman's awesome. We live in that country with that dude. And with Dragonman running around, we're still good to go, right? People have hoplophobia. I posted that earlier, doing some work earlier. And people have hoplophobia, which is the morbid, irrational fear of guns. And well, I don't know, is Dragonman helping or stop helping or hurting that? It's in my hair. Hold on, something's in my hair. Either a spider or a ladybug or a scorpion or something just jumped into my hair from on the ceiling. I'm going to deal with that while we make a poll here. Let's see, Dragonman. These are, what do you call? These are anonymous polls. No one's going to know what you put in here except you. So you can make these what you want, and there's no slice or no connotation meant on mental illness or anything. We're just using these two ways to say yes or no to Dragonman shenanigans. So, yeah. Eventually, it was too little to be a scorpion. It would have been a baby scorpion, and they don't jump off of their parents. Is this poll ever going to show? Eventually, it's just going to ask you if you like Dragonman or not, basically. If you think he's helping by running around being a Yahoo. I think of all the people I've seen in my life driving around being a Yahoo, Dragonman's the awesomest. All right, so next up is Johnny Rollins. Oh, this works out pretty good because I need to probably comb my hair because there's something in my hair. This is Johnny Rowland. This is from 1996. This is something I posted on the channel. So I posted this 5-minute thing. You don't have to listen to the whole 5-minute thing. We're going to listen to a chunk out of the middle, which is freaking epic. I'm going to just say fucking epic.
Eating. Someone who's uneducated is what food is. If you don't eat your vegetables, you'll be stunted in your growth. And a lot of times you'll start off, and it may not be that tasty, it may be a little dull, but we learn as we mature how important those vegetables are to our entire well-being. And you know what? Most of us get to where we enjoy eating those vegetables. And this is something, you have a lot of other things there on the meal that some will be tastier than others. But certainly as we mature and we understand what it's about, then those vegetables become a whole lot better. And then you understand just what this is about, what our involvement as citizens. You know what, friends? I like to certainly believe I'm a trustworthy American citizen. But you know what else? I'm not the only one. I believe you are too. I believe you're trustworthy. I want to have my firearms and I want to use them responsibly. And if I use them irresponsibly, just like anybody else, I'll have to pay a price for it. So I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to use my guns irresponsibly. And you know, I'm willing to extend that same courtesy to you as a viewer, you as a citizen. And why shouldn't you, if I can have mine, why shouldn't you be able to have yours? It was so important that our founding fathers put this in our sacred Constitution. And yes, I say sacred because our Constitution has given us the best standard of living, the best way of life of any country in the history of the world. So friends, let me tell you what, that's why I think it's so important. That's why we do the things we do to help you understand what's going on. It is so important. And getting back to that meal, some of you may be duck hunters. Some of you may be and not care about handguns. Some of you may be IPSC shooters, not care about shotguns. But let me tell you, if you just ate the dessert, if you went to just the core thing that you personally were interested in, if you ate just the dessert on the meal, you're not going to be nearly as healthy as you would be if you had the entire course or the entire combination of what's on your plate. And really, that's what we have to do here on our shooting show. We have to educate people that don't know much about guns, people who are casual. You know, friends, now it's with the urbanization of America, it's become harder to find places to shoot. And if you have something in your home and you will never use it, you may not be quite as distressed when someone says, hey, well, look, these are dangerous. We need to take that away. If you don't understand what it's about and you don't ever get the opportunity to use whatever it is, you may say, well, okay, if you don't understand what it's about. And that's what my job and it's our job as shooters to educate other people on just what this is about.
Fucking amazing. That was in 1996. So that's the beginning of his show one day, and just epic. Just epic. So highly recommend checking out Johnny Rowland. He's awesome. And that whole thing about the casual gun owner stuff, I mean, you're not going to probably absorb too much just listening to me blab and point at these things, but it's listed here. We post this over on Patreon, and you can find it. If it's something that you're interested in, I'd highly recommend just like listening to that couple of 3 or 4 minutes of Johnny Rowland, because the way he uses the analogy of a meal, and then that part about extending the courtesy or whatever of letting you do your own thing was pretty epic. And then the whole thing about the duck hunters not caring about revolvers. There's woods out there. We all know how duck hunters feel about revolvers. And just good stuff. I mean, it's obviously something that we've needed to hear and we've been hearing for a long time, but it's not like it's over. Once we figure it out, it's over. But you don't see too many people focusing on it. Let's see. Then we get Gun Owners America talking about tech and
purposefully exceeding its constitutional authority. Do you oppose many federal and state laws and regulations, particularly those related to firearms ownership? Do you think the purpose of the Second Amendment
So GOA, couple of 5-minute video here is talking about a thing called the Global Internet Forum, where they're trying to, Biden, I guess, has given them the authority to expand what they would have been looking for is like arms dealers and stuff like that. They're going to use a bunch of industries potentially to narc, right? Like these narcs, ask them. And we know approximately how many are in here. 2 of them right now. Most of them have left, so that's good. So, yeah, that's a whole nother videos, I suppose. Eventually, I don't know if we're going to do it as Patreon stuff, or if we're going to do it on any other channel, but I don't know if it'll fit into this channel or not. But there's a lot of ways that tech is going to be potentially used. So I'd watch that video from Gunners America. It's a specific thing about an international angle on it. That's why I put it in here, because it's new to me with the international angle. But that concept of big tech being used as a weapon, I mean, guns is just one way they're going to use that potentially as a weapon. You're like, oh, I don't like watching the Johnny Rollins shooting show from back in the day because it's too old or whatever. I never get to see my cool commercials about how to cut my own hair evenly. Well, guess what? We're watching another Johnny Rollins shooting show clip. There's nothing you can do about it. This is from, you could leave, I guess. You could quit being a robot. But this is from 2000, and this is 2 minutes and 25 seconds long. And this is why Gun Owners America is better than other organizations that can suck it.
Project Exile has been heralded as the way to do something about crime without succumbing to demands for more gun control. Project Exile legislation recently swept through the U.S. House of Representatives by a vote of 358 to 60. I believe the 358 representatives voted wrong. Project Exile is not going to decrease the demand for gun control. It is a call for zero tolerance and 5-year prison terms in the enforcement of existing gun control laws. Here are some existing gun laws. Attaching a 2 or more round extension to a post-ban Glock pistol magazine. Attaching a flash suppression, folding stock, or bayonet lug to certain household firearms. Accidentally carrying or possessing a weapon with or without a state license into a federally prohibited area, such as near a school. Driving to another state to give a family member a handgun without going through the instant check registration scheme. Possessing a gun while subject to a restraining order, regardless of the absence of violence and without a trial or any legal adversarial process having taken place. Committing any minor infraction of any unconstitutional federal gun law. 2 very well-known cases of zero.
So those are, he goes quickly and he's kind of monotone, but he basically described some fairly, what's the word, like non-violent for sure, but like, I don't know what the word is, innocuous, like very, not very big deal kind of violations of the law. And now he's going to cite, at the time, remember this is 2000, some fairly recently issues that were still on our minds back then.
Tolerance type approach embedded in place, committing any minor infraction of any unconstitutional federal gun law. 2 very well-known cases of a zero tolerance type approach embedded in Project Exile are Ruby Ridge and Waco. At Ruby Ridge, federal agents killed a boy and a mom holding a baby. They came down on the Weaver family because Randy had sawed off a shotgun 1/4 inch under the federal limit, and the jury found that Weaver sawed it off because a federal agent persuaded him to do so and thus was not guilty.
So if you don't know what they're talking about, there was a couple of situations throughout the 90s which created backlash against the government, and it was a different world back then, but one of those instances was a situation from somebody in Idaho, and turns out the FBI had been, I don't want to say stalking them, but what's the word, like investigating them because of people that they knew, or maybe they were investigating a whole group of people. I'm not familiar with, I don't remember the specifics of how they focused on the Weavers. Eventually they focused on the Weavers, and they bugged him and bugged him and bugged the guy until the guy finally decided, or they bugged him and bugged him until at one point he's like, yeah, we'll help you build some shotguns or whatever, modify some shotguns. And then the person was like, oh, can you cut it here? and I don't know what the specifics were, but the result in court was that he was not guilty, that it was the FBI narc who kept saying, cut it here, cut it here, cut it here, and he did. And then they killed his kid. His kid's dog was like, or no, they killed his kid's dog. The kid went to kill the FBI guy who killed his dog in front of him. And then the FBI guy killed the kid. And then when the mom was walking out the door with the baby or something, somehow another FBI guy killed the mom and the baby through the door. And then as expected, Weaver started killing the shit out of people. So they turned into a whole thing where, half this country thought it was an extremist going nuts, and the rest of the country eventually realized the ATF what more than overstepped their bounds, earned the name jackboots, and in court afterwards, all that was found out, that they trapped a guy, killed his family, and then cried extremist as soon as they were, about to be captured, or found out, not captured, found out. So next, they're going to talk about the other one that everybody hears about.
At Waco, 85 church members were killed over the possibility of a non-registered machine gun on premises. All that carnage based on federal records that the head of the records department admits are wrong 50% of the time. Project Exile also represents a transfer of street crime jurisdiction to the federal government, even though the founders very clearly intended for it to be excluded from federal control. The Project Exile bill gives money to states which agree to meet federal standards or turn their jurisdiction over to the federal government. Rather than Project Exile, how about a zero tolerance for all Second Amendment infringements? Let's have Project Repeal of all federal gun control. And from Washington, this is Larry Pratt.
He doesn't even say with Gun Owners of America, he doesn't say like, now you can send $3 at me or whatever, $30. How come I can't? Come on. So
At the head of the records
Crash is saying,
wrong, 85 church members were killed for the federal limit, and the jury found down on approach embedded in process having taken place to the absence of violence and are subject to a restraining order, regardless of the absence of violence and without a trial or any legal adversarial process, having arms, accidentally carrying or possessing a weapon with or without a state license into a federally prohibited area, such as near a school, driving to another state to give a family member a handgun without going through.
Here we go. So this is what Crash, whatever, is saying. This one is a great point out of this thing from Larry's deal.
Near a school, driving to another state to give a family member a handgun without going through the instant check registration scheme. Possessing a...
So back in 2000, they already were, Gun Owners America was already aware and letting people know that that's a gun registration scheme, instant gun registration scheme, instead of calling it NICS. So yeah, this was great. And then I showed it to Crump, and Crump grabbed it off of the thing and shoved it up there, and now it's getting some views and stuff. So that's pretty cool. What does this guy say? Something interesting. 21 years later, the Marxists are keeping us safe with common sense proposal like this one. I thought it was, maybe it's on the other video, but there was somebody that had some insight on a comment to the effect of, it's been the same conversation all this time. And that's where it's true and it's frustrating, because it is in a lot of ways the same conversation all these years later. So yeah, I think that registration scheme is a big deal. I don't know, you're saying this has been going on too long. I don't know if you just mean the fight in general. They'll always go on. I think it was it Ben Franklin who said the price of liberty is eternal vigilance. So there's always going to be someone trying to take your liberty, right? The price of being alive is that somebody might be trying to kill you, not because of some plot. They just want your food or your something, right? So we just have to keep our eyes open. We have to be aware and have relationships and friends and that kind of thing, partnerships and allies. And so I don't think the big picture it's ever going to be over. So I don't think it's been going on too long. I mean, it's been going on hopefully forever, right? But as far as the nicks, yeah, that's been way too long. We need to start fighting nicks, not fix nicks, remove nicks. What's a cool, trendy way to say get rid of nicks? That's what we need to come up with. Tell that to the kids. Make like a SpongeBob SquarePants reunion video, movie, and then in that movie, put something in there like, hey, SpongeBob and that other friend of his wants to get rid of the NFA. And then they run around getting rid of the NFA. And at the end, they get rid of the NFA and SpongeBob's happy or whatever. Nicks. Oh, dude. It was obvious. It was just sitting right there. Exactly. We need to hashtag Nicks. Nice. Has that been used? Did we just make that up? Did I just make this up right now? Did I just invent this on live right now by clicking on this button? Let's see. Isn't it crazy? Most of the people in politics then are still in office to this day. Yeah, actually, that's one of the things I was just working on over here because it's bothering me. And I don't get a lot of time to work on this stuff because I'm trying to pay the bills or whatever. But underneath the resources, I don't go down here too often, but it's underneath gun control prohibitionists. I started getting a list going. And, you know, like the other lists, I'll eventually start getting them in line here. But I started, see, that's where the homophobia thing comes from. I copied and pasted it earlier. This thing is the beginnings of another map or chart or whatever, because there's all kinds of unscrupulous stuff happening. I guess if I jump over to the organizations that these unscrupulous people run, you got your 74, the National Council to Control Handguns becomes Handgun Control Inc., and then that becomes the Brady campaign. And then these people peel off from it and become other, you know, like what's his face here? What's his face is working for Brady, or sorry, for Gabby. And then, you know, he wants to peel off and go back to be the director of the NFA or the ATF. So I'm going to try to map all that stuff out when I get some time. I was listening to podcasts earlier. I was listening to Tony Simon's podcast. Oh shit, I didn't put Tony's in. I was listening to an old one. I'm sure I put it in here before. So anyway, that was an oldie, but a very goodie of maybe teenage Larry Pratt talking about stuff in 2000, the year 2000. Now this is baby Larry Pratt. We won't watch the whole thing because you people are bored.
What it's actually going to do is increase the amount of nitric oxide the body makes.
This is Larry Pratt with a commentary from Gun Owners of America.
Look at how old this one is.
Waiting periods can be dangerous to your health. Take, for example, these cases.
It's boring. I don't like this one, but I like looking at old-fashioned Larry when he's a baby. So this is in 1991, a full 9 years. Can you imagine? Most people are not even going to be 2A activists for 9 years. I guess you'll own guns for 9 years. Well, that'll yet to be seen because you're all living in an unprecedented new world, right? But most people I know don't stay gun owners forever. People I know that are like some of the coolest gun owners don't always stay gun owners. That's why other people can buy guns, because people sell their guns and stuff. So 9 years, because he was getting, I guess he was getting paid to do it, but I don't know how rich these guys are getting. Maybe they're getting paid well, but 9 years later, this guy's still, well, that was at the time. Between the last video and this video was 9 years. Like I said, that's an incredibly long time to be on focus of something and interested in something. I'm in because I can see that there's people that are in this for the long haul, and I don't think they're just getting super loaded, you know, getting Wayne rich, getting Wayne paid, but maybe they are. But anyway, I think that's neat. And then he ended up staying active. Do you know what stopped Larry Pratt from being active? I guess I can't do that as a poll because we only have this one type of poll yet. But does anybody know what made Larry Pratt quit Gun Owners America? Nobody will talk about that from the Gun Owners America. Oh yeah, I know a lot of people that sold their guns already. All their guns too. I mean, maybe a gun or two for protection if that was their mindset. But when a collector sells all their guns, they don't keep nothing. Especially if they hate collecting. Like people go from loving collecting to hating collecting sometimes. or they go into collecting something else so much that whatever is just gone. That's the weird part. But you've run into that with collectors. All right, so now we're going back down, all the way down to guns and gadgets. So Biden administration finds a loophole to ban 3D printed firearms. Anybody pay attention to this one? This is where Biden is going to put a thing where you have to get a permit or tax or some kind of stamp or something from some other new organization, International Commerce of Infringements or something, and then require that license to be able to put 3D files on the internet, and then everybody assumes they're just never going to file, never issue the permits or the certificates or whatever. So that one's kind of interesting. Now, I don't know if I ended up putting his other video in here. I guess I didn't, but what's his face put up another video, and it was about the Mexican lawsuit. And when I put on there, because Jared didn't say shit about Mexican lawsuit being funded by Bloomberg, right? And that's one of the reasons I'm going over here to map out all the Bloomberg influences or whatever. But Bloomberg is Brady, and the Mexican lawsuit against firearms manufacturers that's been released this week, that is instigated by Brady. So I said something in Jared's comments like, hey, go check that out, like add that when you talk about this one again or something. And then, man, I got a bunch of people yanking on me. I guess it's because a Yankee hates Jared probably, and people think something over there. Or I guess people could just hate me. And then, or because if they thought I was horking off of Jared, maybe. Anyway, I appreciate y'all, because at least y'all aren't weird around me. I don't think you all are weird. But I know when you get rocking with thousands of people watching your shit, you got to be a whole nother level of lame, because those people are weird over there, angry and weird. So I know they're not watching this, so I appreciate y'all. You're not weird. You're not weird. You're not weird. I don't know about you yet. You're not weird, right? All you people are normal, not weird. Not weird. I already say you're regular. Not weird. Normal. I don't know you yet. Normal. Appreciated. I know Bob. I've slept on Bob's couch and stuff, so definitely normal. And a human. And human. Normal. Well, I don't know if he's human. No one's ever met Wood, so we don't know. Anyway, but I like Yankee, but he's losing it faster than Biden. Yankee's got his own. Yeah, Yankee's Yankee, right? He's doing his thing. He brings a bunch of people in. He brings more people in than people 3 times, 4 times his size. And the people he brings in, he doesn't bring them in, chew them up, and spit them out. He brings them in, welcomes them, be's weird in front of them. So they either go, oh, I'm going to hang out with Yankee, or I'm getting the hell away from Yankee. But they don't come in and go, I hate guns. Or I think guns are a joke, or some sort of like casual bullshit keychain, right? Like they think guns are legit, and they get their minds opened by Yankee. But I hear you. I can totally understand people not getting Yankee. I've been not getting Yankee for 9 years. But that's why I can hang around with them for 9 years, because we ain't trying to align ourselves with our shit or whatever. Do we know this guy? I think you're normal. You're not acting weird to me. I'm just saying the angriness. I don't know. Do y'all ever watch the comments on other big channels? I don't ever go to big channels, and I certainly don't look at their comments. It's just that I was saying something to Jared, like, hey, you didn't get the, or like, go look at the Everytown issue, or I forget what I said, something like that. And then, some of it was like, oh, if that's the thing, then that sucks. And then this guy was like, just weird. I forget. Let's see. I slept on a bot sofa. Why the bot discrimination? I've slept on a robot. I haven't slept on a robot doctor. I often lay down on top of a robot doctor and let it blow hot water up at me. So I'm okay. I don't mind interfacing with robots, almost naked. But I'm just saying, I don't like the robots that hang out in this chat, because those are internet robots just snooping. They're just nosing on what we're doing to steal stuff, steal ideas. Other robots are fine. Let's see. That was Jared. Okay. No, I was saying about the one that I didn't link on here. So there's another Jared one, but if you're watching Jared, you already know what videos he's putting up. So next, this is the Second Amendment Foundation. So this is making me want to go out of here over to my poll. So first off, we got 2 polls going. Not just the polls in here. Is there a poll in here? No. Wait, there is a poll. Hold on. We got a poll about Dragonman, and that poll tells us that right now we've got a pretty decent human to bot ratio. So we're going to end that poll. Everybody thinks Dragonman's awesome. Somebody's some kind of yahoo that doesn't like Dragonman, I guess. So now we're going to start a second poll, and this is going to be the best poll. And then it'll be, this poll will be one of the options, which is the poll that they're being asked in. The other one will be the poll that is the best 2A organization this year. So if you want to, you can go over and, hold on, first I got to do this. You can go to this link because you're already logged into YouTube. Go to that link and you can scroll down because I can't get you there directly. You can scroll down and vote on that poll, and whichever you want to do. There's another poll about, have you seen the SAF video called Protect 2A? And we're about to watch this video. We're about to watch this video and then talk about it. So now you're also, don't get scared. There's a poll that just went live, and you're going to vote in that poll about these other 2 polls that you're also going to vote in. So you've got 3 polls to vote in, and you're going to be voting on your own poll. So it's going to be weird. You're going to be polling yourself, sort of. But first go over to this poll. This is the way to do it. Go to this poll if you're going to get in on it. 27 votes. I'm going to refresh, and then scroll down back to this part again. 27 votes. Now we're going to watch this video from the Second Amendment Foundation, and that's what this poll is about. It says, have you seen this video? We're about to watch it. New SAF video called Protect 2A. Oh, by the way, I already got copyrighted on this video because it turns out that DC Project is the thing that keeps copyrighting me. Something about that mansplaining at the beginning or the music behind it gets me every time. So every one of these videos has been copyrighted because of stupid DC Project commercial I ripped off. So we're about to watch another video that's going to copyright me, and then you're going to want to vote yes, this video is this commercial or whatever it's supposed to be, this infomercial or this thing, and then yes, it appeals to me and it appeals to other people too. Or you can put in yes, it appeals to me, but it may not be appealing to other people. Or you could put in here, no, it didn't appeal to me, but it may appeal to other people. And then you could put in here, no, this doesn't appeal to me or anybody. So those are the 4 things. This is the video. Hold on, I gotta start from the beginning. Here it is from the beginning.
Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have vowed to take away your Second Amendment rights through gun bans, gun confiscation, and government regulation. Now, Joe Biden is no longer hiding his real intentions and we need you to take action now.
Whether it's a pistol or whether it's a rifle is ridiculous. I'm continuing to push to eliminate the sale of those things.
The Biden administration is coming after your right to own any gun, and we need you to text Protect 2A to 474747 now. Joe Biden has already issued an executive order. He is now demanding Congress push through radical gun legislation. You can fight back to stop Joe Biden's gun grab, but you must text Protect 2A to 474747. Take action to protect your right to keep and bear arms. We urgently need millions of Americans to text Protect 2A to 474747. Again, text Protect 2A to 474747 right now.
All right. So I'm going to refresh. It was at 27, and I'm just curious if anybody else is going to vote. And scroll back down. Still at 27. So what we got is most people say yes, but it may not be appealing to all. Then we had 26% of the people saying yes, and it will appeal to many others. Behind that was no, but it might appeal to others. And behind that more was the most negativist one, no and no. So I guess I'm encouraged by that, because I would have been in the no and no personally, but it won't let me vote on my own thing, I don't think. So anyway, I don't know. We can't really conversate about that because you're not in here, but I'd be curious if people talked about that on other conversations. G23, looking at you. Barbecue, looking at you. Gizzard, if he's out there. Anybody else that hosts live conversations? Wheeled, I don't know. I guess you don't host them. But Echo, I don't know. Somebody that wants to. I don't know. Something rubs me wrong about it. A couple of people commented on it, and I appreciate that, because one guy said it was the voice, another guy said it was the repetition. Just drives me the wrong way, or rubs me the wrong way. But I'll quit shutting up about it now, and then we'll go back to my channel. Go to that community tab, and now we'll go to this other poll. This other poll is all about the best 2A organization this year. And I figured out how to take this numbers, work them into a spreadsheet, and then fiddle them into a fancy bar graph that'll be different, like a linear graph. I don't know what they're called. Some kind of graph. It's cool looking. So I can do that with like wiggling some buttons around. So I'm going to start asking this question. I think every other week. I forget. If you go up here, don't get scared. I've got 42 posts scheduled for the future, and you can see that poll is going all the way up into the end of the year. So all the way till Christmas, I'm going to be asking that same set of questions, and then I'm going to make a graph about it or whatever. So if anybody wants to answer it, you can see that it's definitely making a big FU symbol with GOA being the middle finger, and FPC getting a little bit of love. But GOA just seems to be winning the popularity vote this year for sure. Again, I don't know if it's awkward for y'all to try to talk about it out here. Feel free. That's what this portion of the screen is all about. Y'all feel welcome to chat, unless you're a robot or a narc, in which case they're not going to say nothing. They're just writing notes to themselves or calculating things. But like I say, I don't know. There's not really too much to talk about there, but perhaps in other conversations, some of this stuff can get spread around and discussed. Or something similar. If you find stuff that's interesting like that, I'd be curious. What do we got next? Gizzard did a thing, even though he quirks the beginning of this show often, he did a thing like this.
Is my version of the Second Amendment to the state's Constitution. It says, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Happy Every Second Matters, everybody.
So for Every Second Matters, he did this like hashtag GG for Gizzard Gary, E2M, and then challenge, and then asked people to post a Second Amendment, their version of Second Amendment. It's pretty cool. So we posted that over in there on the Every Second Matters show. It was Every Second Matters last week. I think we had a pretty good conversation. It lasted for 4 hours and 20-something minutes, and good conversation with the people in there. And if I remember right, it's a lot of live shows, but I think there was quite a bit of interaction, like you're not getting today. Well, no, you're actually getting quite a bit today too. But a lot of people jumping in and chatting in the side chat, being part of the show that way. There was the Guns for Everyone podcast. I put it in here, but I didn't listen to it yet. I don't know if anybody else listened to it, wants to say something about it. California EDC, I put that in there last Saturday. Everybody was in there, and I don't remember this guy. So, but everybody was in there chatting, so I threw it in here. Because I was watching that chat. I got there kind of at the end. I forgot what I was doing. Let's see. Then Ghost put in a thing about Green Berets jumping out of airplanes, so let's watch that. can't wait. Just act now. Don't think about stuff. Let other people think. You act. Anyway, Ghost made this video. It's 3 minutes long. It's fast roping. I don't know if Green Bray's fast rope, but maybe they do. They probably do a little bit of stuff. Well, I guess they do it for rip shots like that. They really hate being in helicopters, though, so often they're just jumping the hell out of a helicopter because they don't like to be in it anymore. They're pretty scary. A lot of noises. If you ever open up a door on an airplane, usually Green Brays will jump out the back. So, usually does weird marine stuff or goofy Navy stuff, so I figured since it was Green Bray stuff, we would show that one this time. And then we get, I just put in here a link to the intro. So I have to do some things, so that makes me have to not run around for a bit, and then that gives me time to read some of that book. So I've got about 5 or 6 more chapters read, and a couple of them already posted, and then a bunch of them like already recorded. I just have to put, wrap them up with the fanciness and then post them. Do I even do that? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I just have to post them. But anyway, so I'm not done or anything, but I'm a good chunk of the way into gun rights war now. So I think I have to cough and I'm going to take another drink. So we're going to go to a different commercial this will be for the best show you could watch every week that's live. Goes on longer than that, but I'm done drinking. All right, so next up is the Kalashnikov library. Oh, right on. Thanks, dude. Appreciate that. I'm going to use that for eating food with it.
Product over at our Gear website store. This is our new.
I'm posting this because somebody commented on it. That's one of my tricks, is when somebody goes in and comments on an old video, I throw it back up so that it kind of stirs the pot a little bit, gets the sediment out the bottom of all the big piles of videos. So this is a deck of cards that I made one time because I was sick of having to go in there and figure out, mostly when I was trying to do the website work, trying to figure out what order all these damn books go in. If I pull one off the shelf and put it back up there wrong, guess what? It's up there in the wrong spot again. And then I got to go figure out where it's supposed to be based off of stupid things like opening it up and looking at the inside cover and all that. So at some point, I put them all into these cards so that it'd be way easier to carry them around and have them. So those cards cost way too much money to make, and nobody really wants them. So at some point, I took the stuff that made the cards and crammed it into a little bit different format, and that turned it into a book there. And when I have ink, I print the book out and sell it on the store. So it's not necessarily every book, but I would say it's a good 90 plus, 90% plus of the books that it starts with this 1960s when the first Western media, we had anything about the AK, which was basically that Life magazine cover. And then the second Life magazine cover came out, and then a couple of reprints of manuals. And then there was not quite a flood, but there was some like Discovery, I guess, and it was neat how SWAT magazine or Soldier Fortune magazine was a big part of it. And then you get into, obviously the era of people being able to publish, much more easy, and get ready to publish, much more easy with cheaper tools. And then the number of books just increases almost exponentially. So it's getting tougher to keep track of them all. This book is certainly not current anymore, but it was fairly current a couple of years ago, and it's still mostly current. I mean, it's definitely 80% of the books that exist, probably 90% of them maybe, but I could safely say 80% of them for sure, because there's got to be some I don't know about. But anyway, so that's another project that we did 2 years ago, and I'm just kind of bringing it back and letting people see about it again. So then we get to this crazy set of videos. So I was talking about these on other live shows, and then I found them on YouTube. So you can just watch these things off of YouTube. And here's the deal. If you can't handle it, it's like when in that one movie where he's got two pills. One of them is blue and the other one is a stupid color. And he goes, eat one of these pills. And one of the pills is going to make you smaller. No, one of them makes you just go back to sleep. And the other one gives you way too much knowledge that you'll never unlearn. And that's what these videos will do. Super cool. I've watched them twice now. And then I've watched them more than that. Because like when I'm outside doing stuff, I'll leave these things running. So when I come back in here to get some water or something, you know, they're playing and I'll hear more of them. They're really interesting. Each one of them is an hour. They're made by the BBC. So unfortunately they're in metric, but they have good information anyway. And it'll teach you about how Freud had a nephew and how that guy started women smoking and started the world wasting money and turned capitalism into a thing, and really interesting. And then how that got into politics. And I think once you, here's how I'm going to describe it. And if you don't like this after you read it or watched them, then let me know and I'll change it. But it's like they figure out that if you just tell somebody how good something is, then you decide I'm going to buy it. And if it sounds better than the other guys, you're going to buy the one that sounds better. Then they figured out, because of Freud, well, Freud's nephew or whoever, figured out that if you ask people what they like and then tell them that what you got is like what they're looking for, then you're going to sell more. That if you ask them what their feelings are, right, you're going to be able to sell them better. So he figures that out. He tests it a few times. Once he's discovered that that's definitely the case and he's now rich about it, he starts to give that to, or people apply that into politics, and they start to use those kind of things to figure out, hey, let's ask people what they want, and then we'll create our parties and cater to that. So it's sort of like they were trying to sell bread, and they started asking people questions, and they said, oh, well, guess what? People like cake better than bread. So they started making cake, and then at some point they kept refining that and said, you know what? People don't like cake as much as they like chocolate cake. And then they kept refining that, and they're like, well, not everybody likes chocolate cake, And so then somebody figured out, well, if we make more than one kind of cake, everybody's happy. And then they're like, yeah, that's a pretty good idea. So that's sort of the development of politics, going from make good, lofty goals and whatever, like optimistic projections of what the future is going to be like based on our like ideals or whatever of the party. And then they were like, well, we can change that. Maybe we'll have many ideals for the party so that everybody's got a little slice of what they want. And then they figured out, well, what if we give everybody a little bit of what they want? But what if instead of making cakes, what if we just went and bought a bunch of cheap candy? And instead of asking them what they want, we gave them a choice of these cheap candies that we already got. And now everybody's, at the end, you ask them, hey, how did you feel about this? They go, oh, I had a choice and I got exactly what I wanted. But, they're paying for a fancy cake to get made, and what they're getting is a piece of hard candy. And because they choose between a peppermint and a stale piece of, candy peanut or whatever that thing was called, they decided they got what they wanted. And, all the time the politicians are gaming the thing, and they're like just tweaking the way they game it to keep people happy. So anyway, I'm not doing a great summary of it, but I think that's the best summary I've been able to come up with after describing it a few times. I think it was super interesting. I'm certainly going to watch it some more because as I build the 2A history project, I keep refining my visualization or whatever of how I see the 2A history lining up and kind of falling together in a timeline or something. And all this stuff is now adding pieces to that. And I'm wondering how we know that the anti-gun folks are often politicians. So I'm wondering how they're changing strategies and attitudes and morals when it comes to politics. I'm wondering how much of that applies to the firearms fight as well. For example, don't know if this is interesting. Let me know if this is still interesting, if I'm just blabbing at this point. But one of the things I'm trying to track with the gun prohibitionist thing is this concept of the waves of prohibition, the waves of infringements. So the first infringements were to be assholes to freed slaves, and then they were to be assholes to the free slaves that went north and the minorities that were coming over from Europe. And, you know, that was sort of the first wave. And then prohibition, you know, right after that sort of in the 1930s created a bunch of organized crime and criminals. So then it became this like, oh, we got to be worried about organized crime and criminals. That lasted for a while, and then you had the culture wars in the 60s, and then eventually you get to what I'm calling the post-assault weapons ban, assault on the gun owners through social media, right? So we're getting targeted almost directly. And that's sort of how I had, you know, been keeping notes here for this evolution of the war, you know, these kind of waves of attacks against us, because they're waves, meaning that they came in different ways. These were the, what do they call them, these were the black codes. These were the like era of prohibiting firearms. So this was just the black codes, like blacks can't have firearms. And then this was the nobody can carry concealed and you can't carry in town, like that era. And then they get into the like, well, an individual shouldn't own a gun. It should only be the militia, even though they were also against the, you know, the state. So it didn't make much sense. But basically you get that. And then you get into like, here, we don't want you to own this property and stuff. And they get some losses along the way. You know, they don't have all these successes. This is some initiatives that they have, but not always successes. So because they lose, not always, but they lose occasionally, they change their tactics or they, you know, respond differently. And that's where we see new stuff pop up. So, you know, not everyone agrees on this concept of waves or where the waves are, you know, how to label them or anything like that. So I'm just kind of coming up with this. But anyway, it's super interesting when I think about this concept of how because a couple of things happen in this documentary. This documentary talks about like therapy, I guess, would you say, and mental health and mental diagnosis or something, and the way that people, you know, the whole science thing, like where people accepted science to suggest that someone isn't just dumb or broken, but instead they're mentally ill. Like that took a minute to figure out and accept that. Then once they figured out, okay, there's people that are mentally ill, well, we put them in a different kind of jail, right? And then, well, that didn't work. So then, you know, then it got all touchy-feely and, well, maybe that's not working. And now we get the modern kind of thing. And, well, I mean, is that working? So anyway, there's that level of this. And then there's the marketing. Okay, we figured out what people like, so it's selling it. Okay, we figured out what they like. Are we going to run out of it? Well, not if we sell them something that we can't run out of. And then like, oops, the Cold War is over. Now what do we do? Oh, sell them even more shit. So you got into the selling part of it. And then you get into the politics side of it. Like I say, first they just figured out how powerful they were, became millionaires. They invited politicians in to do therapy and listen to all their secrets. They had the heads of business come in and listen to their secrets. They had all these military people come in and explore facets of how they could use these techniques as weapons. And at the same time, learning all the secrets about probably the military people and what the military people's lines in the sand are. So the people that were actually doing this were becoming massively powerful and rich. And yeah, it's really interesting to see all this. And as I start to think about all the different layers to this, like I say, I'm sure here, it's going to align because it's somewhere, depending on which way you want to look at this. I'm thinking even if you just look at it from the marketing side, like as they develop their ability to focus in and hone in on what sells, where did the anti-gun narratives or platitudes go? Towards feelings, turn it into a culture war. So I'm thinking some of this lines up. Now maybe it's obvious and maybe somebody's already done all this, but it's been interesting to see all this and kind of figure it out. Unfortunately, I'm doing it in, you know, during what's his face's chat, the rip off of the Daily Gun Show, or in between waiting for things to download or whatever. But we'll continue to work on those things and they'll evolve over time. If anybody wants to work on that kind of stuff, feel free to jump into the workshops and things when we go live, or contact me if you have a specific question about something, and we can dig into that live or something. So I wondered which of the polls would be the most interesting of the polls, and for some reason it turns out 12 people voted, which is amazing. That means that all the narcs left? That makes no sense. Somehow, probably the narcs have figured out how to loophole the system. We just got loopholed by a bunch of narcs. We're going to have to figure out a new system of figuring out if we're narcs or not. But otherwise, we got 12 votes. There's no way to do the math on this. I'm just going to say 9 of them went here, and then, no, that can't work. 8 of them went here, and 2 and 2. We're going to do that. 8 of them went to this, and 2 and 2 went to those. Or it could be 6 and 4 and 4. No, it can't be. It has to be 8 and 2 and 2. So that's how we're ending that poll. This poll is the winner of all the polls. Personally think that the poll with the asking the comparison of the various gun owners' rights group is going to be the most interesting one, because you haven't seen it. Wait, have you seen it? Can I do it? Is that legal? Let me see if I can even open it. I shouldn't open this in front of there, so let me put it over there, and let's see what happens if I do open this. All right, I guess I opened it. So here's, don't freak out. I'm going to do this in front of everybody. Boom. See what I did? I pushed one button. Boom. Boom. One poll turned into, or all that data, boom, turned into a pie chart. So it looks stupid as a pie chart. How about, boom, line chart? Nope, that didn't look right. Oh no, this one. Nice. And then we put the smooth in there. And then I can fiddle with stuff. I just don't know how to do it good yet, but you can move stuff around and have a series in a row. Nah, I got to figure out what I did. But anyway, you get the idea. Once I can figure out how to get in here and play with it, this is the various polls that have been going on since I started asking a couple of weeks ago. And then throughout the year, I'll keep asking them. And then we'll take that data and we'll turn it into, or I guess each week I'm going to continue to save changes. Don't save. How about that? Well, I'll start posting that graph, and then we'll see, at least from the people that respond to the poll, what the opinion is of the different organizations this year. Just curious, because I think we're going to see a dynamic change, or a change in the dynamic. The Gun Rights Policy Conference went virtual. I don't know if they're stepping down or if they're getting ready for something that I don't see coming, but we may see a change in the number and who the players are. I'm not sure. So curious to see what people are thinking, and if you're interested in participating in that, feel free. If you are doing the project like that on your own channel, let me know so I can help bring people over to it. Otherwise, we're an hour and a half in. I think that counts as a show. So thanks to Savage, that's $10. I will definitely be using that for food. I just went out. I have a flat. I was thinking my flat was because the tires getting worn down on the inside. I have a bad ball joint. No, yeah, ball joint. Right, the little thing underneath of the wheel is a ball joint, right? I think I have a bad ball joint, and it's just too wet. I have to wait because everything around here is sand. I have to wait until the sand is strong enough to be able to jack it up and beat that ball joint out of there, right? I don't just have to jack it up. I have to jack it up and beat on it with a sledgehammer. So I haven't changed that ball joint out in forever. So my wheel's getting all rubbed down weird, and I figured it was just getting low on air because it's wearing through the rubber. However, I looked out there today, and there's a big nail in there. So I'm thinking I got to do something with that. So I appreciate it. I went out and reconned my wheel, and that $10 will be going towards that wheel. Let's see. I'm hoping to do an intro to reloading tomorrow if I can get a couple of people to join the panel. Well, I don't know if Echo's out there, but that Echo dude, he reloads occasionally. Sometimes he can be talked into reloading. I don't know what's happening with Dead Horse. I haven't seen him in a bit, but he's up to it. Might be able to get Dead Horse in there. What is this? 81% of Texans support pecan pie as the national dessert. So do Texans, are they okay with like a pecan nut roll? Wait, is that what it's called? Pecan. Yeah, right, where you take a bunch of pecans and you put it around that white stuff. So it's sort of like a candy bar, but there's really no chocolate on it, so it's technically not a candy bar. But I don't know if I could eat pecan pie all the time anymore. I used to be addicted to it, but I don't like it so much anymore. I see something coming. I stopped screen sharing, so, right? Yeah. So, having to look over here. You're having, I don't know who these people are. Are these people? Or are these robots? Oh, reloading robots would be cool. Like R2-D2? No, not R2-D2. That one that was, looked like a cat rack or whatever. I think it was supposed to be the robot that helped Luke when he was in the water tank getting fixed. Anyway, there was this one robot, Star Wars figure, that had like a ton of arms, and he was round, and he just had a ton of arms. It looked like kind of like a coat rack or a garbage can with a ton of arms, and like all around. That guy would be awesome in a reloading room. You could just put reloaders all around him, so like he would be a thing with progressive presses all around him. Holy moly. It would never go, it would always just have ammo coming out of it. Okay. It's acceptable, but not the national dessert of Texas. Oh, you're talking about the nut roll? Okay. Georgia's pretty big on pecans pie. Over here, we got the, we got the pecans too, so that's weird. I think, I don't know, let's go. We're going to have to go find out who's got more pecans now. So we're going to go to, we'll do this live so that there's no cheating involved here. Boom. All right, we're back onto the screen. Thought it was over. It ain't over, because now we're going to go figure out what's going on with these pecans. So pecans in the, have we got any money on it? Okay, we're going to put some money on it. Here's how we're going to do that. No, not like that. This, and then like this, and like this, and so we're going to say pecans in the USA, or pecans, or however you want to say it. Oh, I guess we have to spell it right. Okay, and then, oh, is this how you spell it? Come on, really? Come on. All right, and then, okay, they're grown in 15 states, including, and what were the states we had come up here? Georgia, Texas, and I'm going to put Arizona in here. Does anybody else want to pick a state? Is there somebody else that thinks your state is so good with pecans that we need to put it in here, that it's so good? Well, I'll have to wait until I can jump back over to the other one. So I guess if no one else is going to say anything, then we already got Georgia. I never heard of any place else having pecans. So I'll put California in here just because they're one of those states that always has some sort of monopoly on fruit. So there you go. So you can go vote. And now, depending on the lag, you're going to be able to cheat. So it's not like we're giving you any money for that vote. Is it going to tell us more? 15 states. Oh, look at all the states at the bottom have pecans. Well, that's interesting. Growing pecans in Florida. How about you compare these states already? They're not going to compare it because it's going to be like this, like all states grow great pecans, buy them from anybody. So let's go find out from somebody who isn't trying to be weird about it. Pecans in the USA by state. How about that? Which state produces the most pecans? Before I open it, I'm going to see what this thing says. We're going with, oh, we got a pretty even distribution at this point. Can there be more ads? Holy moly. Which state produces the more pecans? Pecans are the top tier nuts in the world. They're rich in buttery, nutty flavor. Whatever. How about you answer the damn question? The following states is where you'll find the most pecan farms. Which state produces the most? Among the states mentioned above, Texas, New Mexico, and Georgia harvest most of the pecans in the U.S. Among 15, come on. I don't trust this site because of all the ads, though. This could easily be a manipulative site with bad info. Among 15, 1/3, Georgia accounts for 1/3 of the pecan harvest in the U.S., which is nearly 88 million pounds of pecan. So I feel like if you need 88 million pounds of pecan to kill a deer, then you shouldn't be hunting. And that's probably why there's such bad hunters in Georgia. I'm just saying. There's over 6,000 pecan trees in all the pecan orchards of farmers in farms in Georgia. Holy crap, that doesn't even seem like that many. 6,000 trees. They're being mean to them trees. There's only 6,000 trees, and those 6,000 trees need to make 88 million pounds of pecans. How do those trees even hold up that many pounds? That's like I haven't done the math, but it's something like 1 million pounds per tree. It's messed up. That's messed up. We don't do that to the trees here in Arizona because we're ethical. I don't know what you do in Texas. The harvest season for pecans in Georgia is from October to December. You know what they do though? Is they'll go up to a pecan tree and they'll just shake it. And that's aggressive. They'll just shake that tree and the tree will drop all its nuts. It's scared as shit. Pecans go particularly well with apples. I've never done that, and I ain't gonna do it now because of this site is trying to force me to do it. I guess it's Georgia wins. They cheat probably. Fun fact, in 1995, Atlanta Committee for the Olympic Games used wood from pecan trees to make the handle for the torches. Well, that seems like I don't know if that's legal. And the torch was made from pecan wood. Why are you trying to burn your pecans wood so much if you love your pecans so much? It's not consistent. We learned a lot about Georgia. Just the way Georgians are. We don't have to understand their culture. We'll just understand that they make more pecans than us. So everybody who voted Texas, wrong. Sorry, you found out you were wrong. This person, probably voted for Georgia, wins. So you win all the pecans in Georgia. They're now yours. If you have any questions, if they give you any business about that, just take them to this poll and let them know that you were that vote. And they'll be like, oh, now I understand you can have all these pecans. 88 million pounds of them, so good luck with that. I'm clicking on the wrong thing. I gotta go over here, get back to here. Well, it could be. You don't know how many people who exactly counted those pecans. It's like you're gonna go up and ask the tree how many pecans were on it before it got shook? They don't know. Trees never talk to you. I lived in Arizona all my life and never had prickly pear pie. Am I missing out? I've never been to Grand Canyon either, but I didn't even know there is such a thing as prickly pear pie. So I'm gonna have to find out what that even is. Let's go over here. First off, prickly pears are this, for people that don't know what deserts are. So this is a prickly pear. It's a Opuntia, blah, 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 cactus. Normally it just sits around looking like this. So you've seen it all the time in movies and stuff. And then when it feels like it, it goes. And these come out of it. And they got spikes all over them. So you don't want to go near them typically. And then what you do is you knock off this. Here's what bugs do. They go in there and eat it. Because it's basically watermelon in there. It's kind of like a difference between a watermelon and a pear, right? Like a watermelon mixed with a pear maybe. So you can just go out in the desert and find these by the dozens, like hundreds of millions of them, just billions of them are out there. That's what the desert looks like half the time. So you go out there, you grab a bunch of these things and you put them in a fire and that burns off all of the stuff off of them. And then they end up looking more like this. And then, I don't know what they're doing. They probably pick them when they're gross and then turn them red in some sort of a soup or, somehow make them red. I don't know how you actually harvest them. So when you get done burning the outsides off, then there you go. Oh, I guess you can wipe it on your hair according to this. So that's what the prickly pear is. Most of the time it's jelly. Like most of the time, oh, you're eating prickly pear in some sort of gross jelly, so I never eat it. So this is smearing it into a pie, it looks like. Now this here, that's like what do they call that? Lemon meringue on top. I'd eat that, I guess, if some old lady made it. I'm not eating that if it comes out of some kitchen or something. I got to see who's making it. This here? Nope, I ain't eating that. Unless like a 6-year-old made it. That looks gross. This here? No. This looks like somebody who's Martha Stewart made this. Look at that fancy fork. I ain't got money to buy that kind of fancy pie. This one here looks gross, but it's got chocolate chips in it. I'd probably eat it. This looks kind of gross, so I don't know what's going on with that. This? No. I don't know. Maybe. Probably not. If it's jelly in there, no. And if it's just this in there, no, that's a bunch of strawberries. That's fake. That's filling it up with strawberries and then acting like, you know, there's some prickly pear in there. That's an unscrupulous pie maker. First off, all pie makers are unscrupulous because also they'd be making cakes. So peanut butter and prickly pear jelly glaze, that's the kind of shit that pie makers make because they're weird and they do stuff like this. Ugh. What is this? Somebody's like, oh yeah, I want to eat that. That looks good to me. There's like a worm hanging out of it right there. This, this is fake. This is when you're poor or your mom doesn't care that much. I don't agree that this is dessert. This is when you're a cafeteria worker and you're going to get paid either way, so you don't care anymore. You're going to make that as a dessert. So if somebody makes that at your house, no, I refuse to eat it. Not going near it. This, I don't know. How the hell can that be prickly pear? There's nothing red in it. Sweet prickly pear in the deserts, lush maple cream in the, oh my goodness, no. No, I don't think I'm going to eat one of these pies. It's going to be a hard no on that one. We're going to go back to the poll and we're going to see if anybody is going to eat one of them pies. You can pick any of them pies out of there you want. You're gonna eat them pies. We'll just do the yes and no's. Boom, boom. All right. So, So next is Texas, Georgia, and South Carolina. Nothing happens in South Carolina. Tree nut trees get shook down. Yep. Pecan and applewood is best for smoking meats. Wonder if it has something to do with their claiming you eat them together. We know how things turned out in Georgia. Exactly. What about if it's one of those 50-cent pies at Walmart? I could eat them. I'm off of them. You're not a desert FUD, are you? I don't know. I got more FUD guns than most people. Do I have more FUD guns than Clover? Probably not. No, I don't. I don't have more FUD guns than Clover. So then, do I have more FUD guns than everybody else? Probably. Because I got broken guns. If you count broken guns, then yes. Because I don't fix them. I just have broken guns. But I don't know what eating a pie is a thing or not. A FUD definition or not. 5 votes out of 11? That's getting weird. That's super weird. So now it's still 5 votes. So nobody's going to eat one of them pies. So that's interesting. So what's good news for the 40% of people, which I'm guessing is 2 people, is that you can have all them pies. And the news for the other people is you don't got to eat them. You can go get whatever kind of cake or pie, if you feel like it, that you want. And you can eat that. Broken gun? No. I don't think so, because I can't go buy nothing. Plus, I don't know if I got time. That's a whole nother thing. But, like I say, got to work on the van here. I'm still doing the battle of taxes and bills. So with that, I think we're getting close to the end. Nobody's really saying too much different than answering questions. Oh, there's something. Wield says that his Zazzle was wheeled and well armed. So let's go back to the YouTube, all the way back, and then we're going to go down to subscriptions. And Go through the subscriptions and look for the blue one. Is it up at the top? Oh, there it is. And then you go to the community tab. And then, will that one work now? Guessing I go in here. Boom. Oh, you got the link to it? Let's see if this one works. Nope. So you're saying and yeah, dang it. I thought I tried all the different combinations because I figured that's what it was. So let's try dropping that link and see how that link works. So Wheeled has that badass logo and then started sticking it on stuff. I guess you use this one because it's got these signs. Or no, these are a magnet, so you can put this on something. That's kind of cool. And then, oh, I see. You can put this on your door or whatever. Right on. So that's pretty neat. And then, I guess, what, some shirts or something in here too? Oh, just these. So, dude, I didn't know you needed these. You know who can hook you up with these? And I don't know if they can do them for this price, though. Probably not. But maybe, I don't want to speak for them, is check with Allen Anchor. Because if this is vinyl, anyway, I bet you that Allen Anchor might be able to hook you up with this stuff. But I also know that you're doing this so that you can send people over here to grab stuff, which is pretty neat. So $6 for a 3x4, that's kind of neat. And then you get a code there, so you get even a couple of bucks off of that. And then this one, I'm guessing, says it's for a van door, so it's legit. It's like bigger, right? So that's kind of neat. And then you got it as a magnet, so it's not like permanent like a sticker. You can take it to whatever door or whatever vehicle you might be on or in or using, right? So that's cool. Right on. So I'm guessing you're going to stick all these T-shirts on there too at some point also. Yeah, when you figure it out. So that was one of the things we went back for. Yeah, I don't see the shirts in here, dude. Not yet. Something might be turned off on them. You might have them set to like private or something, but they're not showing up under products right now. But I'll be curious to see how you do with the Zazzle. I don't think I have not used it. I don't think I know anybody who has used it, and that means I'm not familiar with it enough to know if it's worth recommending to people. So I'm going to be curious to see how it works for you. I did hit products. Here, I just stuck the link in here, so that means I can go back to here and click on here. Yeah, it's only got the 3 products, and I can flip it to featured or new. So like I say, they're probably set to private or something. All right, so we still got 6 votes on the pies, and we're going to end that one. You got any tours planned? Taking possession of the giant machine shop. Oh, wait, what? Taking possession of the giant machine shop I work at right around the first of the year. Check it out if you're in Texas. Oh, snap. Well, no, I don't have tours planned because I'm broke and the van is literally broke and stuff. So I need to figure out how to get that back together. You know, just get the financial thing back to a normal situation. But I have thought about it. There's I don't care about going to any of the events as much anymore. Certainly not the ones I haven't attended in the past. But if there's a rally, an actual rally, I'd be curious to see that, but not worth. I've gone into debt in the past, right? Going on some of these things, so I'm not going into more debt to go to these rallies. But I would be curious to see something like that. But there are whenever we tried to do the tour at the end of last year, the goal was to get to Wanamaker and then continue on past Wanamaker and check out a couple more gun museums. So there's 3 gun museums I can get through Texas, and then check out places more like the Texas Ranger Museum. I watched. There's a a Johnny Rollins, where he gets a tour of the Waco Museum back in the 90s, and it's totally different, but the stuff is there. There's just way more of it now. So I seen the stuff that he's seen, but he's seen it when it was a lot smaller. Super cool. So I definitely want to go back to the Waco Museum and bug him about some stuff, and then and see some of the stuff that I walked right past, I guess. So anyway, that's it's still sitting there. And I'd like to get over to California, because turns out I have access to that machine over there if I can get over there. So I got to fix the van and then probably take California as a warm-up tour like I do, and then get over there. So if anything, it would be one of the 2, what do you call it, Wanamakers. So, but that's just whatever. As a reply to a thing, I haven't been thinking about it, and it's not necessarily on the agenda or nothing. All right. So again, thanks everybody for showing up. We've got a whole bunch of people here now that it's all quiet and nobody's asking any questions at the end. But that was it. So I think we can. Is there anything to look at Instagram? I probably should have answered. Oh no, I didn't bother to add our Instagram posts because YouTube gets all mad when you link from it over to Instagram too much. So I may do something else. I might start putting some Instagram posts that are worth checking out on, I don't know, maybe Patreon or someplace where I can post them, where they'll be available and they won't be weird, like dead links or whatever happens when I put them on YouTube like this. And that way we can include some of the, I don't know, there's a lot of interesting stuff that'll happen on Instagram. It's just that so much stuff happens on Instagram. The interesting stuff gets lost in the current. So it might be worth grabbing a couple of things throughout the week. The Atlanta Civil War Museum has tons of Civil War guns. What do you mean Atlanta Civil War Museum? The museum that I went to in that area is just north of, battlefield north of Atlanta. Chimichanga? No. Something like that, though. And then I heard about this one. Johnny was also at this southern, I just looked at this one, this Southern Museum of Civil War and Locomotive History. Are you talking about this one? Kennesaw. Yeah, this one's in Kennesaw. Johnny Rowland didn't go look at no guns. He looked at this stupid train the whole time. And I looked around because I was like, oh, I'm going to go look at their visits or whatever. And I clicked on exhibits. And I did see this picture, which has guns. Well, I guess there's 2 things of guns, but it didn't make it look like there was a ton of guns, as well as weapons such as muskets, swords, and stuff. And then I seen this, and it's got some kind of shoe and some giant bronze army guys. And then this other trains factory where they make a train. Trust me, I'm sure I've been here. There's no possible way I didn't go to this museum when I was a little baby. Because this is what I did growing up, was go to places like this. Or I should say I existed being dragged around to places like this. But I thought it was just a boring train museum. I didn't know there was a bunch of guns there. So, okay, I'll put it on my list. Do you know about the one just north of there? Are you in this area? Let's go over to Google Maps. Don't get scared, I'm going to go to Google Maps. It's like looking at a satellite. It's like flying, but you're not actually flying. Zoom out and close this out of here. Oh, you want to go see where Clark Custom Guns is? That'll take us right to that area. I might close this. There we go. So there's Clark Custom Guns in Shreveport, Louisiana. But if you just drive this one road over across Mississippi, then you get to Alabama. And then, I guess it is pretty far away, holy crap. And then you get to Atlanta. So anyhow, you go north from Atlanta, almost all the way to Chattanooga. And somewhere up here is the Chickamauga. There it is. This Chickamauga battlefield. Have you been up here before? So you go to the Chickamauga battlefield. Like that's not it. You go to the Chickamauga battlefield, and somewhere they're going to show me where it is, because I guess it's been a long time since I've been there. Hello? You just showed me a minute ago where it was. Chickamauga. All right, I'm just going to put in here museum. Seriously, they're going to make it all dumb like this. So, gun museum. Chickamauga National Park. There we go. So if you go to Chickamauga, which is part of the Chattanooga thing, and you flip it back to satellite, you get to this place. That's what I was looking for. And out front, they got a bunch of cannon. Come on, come on. They got all these cannon out front. And then once you go in there, I don't know what's on the left because I never went over there. And then if you go in there and you go this way, there's a gift shop. And then you go over here, and this whole part is a gun museum. What? Yeah, so let's go in there. So then you take this guy and you can, come on, drop him right on top. Take this guy, drop him right there. Come on, really? Drop him inside. Just go inside. Stupid. Okay, there we go. I'm only going to go in front. So that's what it looks like up front, and there's no reason to go up front because you can't get in there. But anyway, this is the Fuller Gun Museum, or I mean the Fuller collection, I believe. And it's pretty much every type of Civil War gun. Can I get in there? You going to show me inside of there, or what's the deal? Website. Oh, this is one of these annoying things. So let's say you try to find out what's going on with the gun collection at the Chickamauga, Chattanooga battlefield, whatever. Learn about, plan your visit, places to go, things to do, outdoor activities, indoor activities. So we could look at that. Learn about the park, photo gallery. Okay, that might tell us, right? Education, field trips now, history. People, places, stories. What? How about stuff, right? So we're going to go back to plan your visit, things to do, indoor. Lookout Mountain, the Oaks Museum. Why are you telling me to go somewhere else? So that was already sus. That's where I decided this is sus. So then you go in here, like stories, resources. What's resources? Documents, monuments, and what? How about you show me what's going on in there? So I'll go to photos and photo gallery. There's the park, there's the ranger, and there's the monuments. What? All right, maybe it's in park views. 10,000 acres, some of the key iconic things. This is all outside stuff. Oh, wait, the Fuller gun collection. Okay. Fuller, housed in the thing, contains over 300 historic military long arms. Oh, wow. I got a freaking picture. You know that every single old fat white guy came in there, walked in, took a right, and went to the guns, and yet you're going to put one picture in here? This is a different place. This is on top of Lookout Mountain. This ain't even the same place. This is fake. This is up like on top of a giant mountain next to there, like that's barely adjacent to there. Actually, it takes a while to get up there. So, and this is on top of the mountain. Now that I think about it, that's the top of the mountain. So, I guess this is a picture of the bottom of the mountain. I never thought about it. You could probably look from here up. Let me go do that again. So let's say I did drop this little dude right here in front of the museum. Can I see that mountain? Yeah, I didn't think so. This is it. That's the museum right there. But you cannot see, even without these trees, you don't see no mountain. The mountain might see you, but you don't see no mountain. Anyway, I was super disappointed. I went here when I was putting the museum, the gun museum projects together back in the day. And I was like, oh, I'm going to get some pictures and, link to where the museum points out their own gun collection. Get one picture for their whole gun collection. And I pretty much looked around the whole stupid little section of the government's website. At least I guess we should be happy that they're open. We have to do that. We have to just be happy that they didn't burn them all. Anyway, they won't tell you here, but that's a person's collection who donated it to the state, probably, and then it went to the museum. I bought a book there, though, so I got like a book of explaining what all the guns are and stuff. But I'll check this one out, too. I'll put it on the list. Thanks for that. Let's see, then we got. I'd like to make Wanamaker. Oh, what's happening? Mosquito has been feasting on my ankle. I'm distracted. So you know what's going to happen? I guess I'm ending it. I don't have to do a commercial. You're just going to listen to me drink for a second. Make it a profitable tour. If you want to learn how to operate robots, going to have to hire a bunch of people. Except I can't move to Texas, but maybe we'll talk about what kind of relocation packages you have. I can already run robots. I'm sure of that. Hundreds of robots. You know what they're doing. Kennesaw, I got it, and got a bunch of AK mags in the hot tank at work getting cleaned. Oh, really? What is a hot tank? Like, back in my day, that would have been part of the parkerizing? Or are you talking about some sort of sonic thing? I'm not up with the sonic stuff. And then this one. I don't know about that. I haven't gone to too many military ones because there's too many military ones, if that makes sense. So I'll go, I will hit military ones when I can. Oh, but they also have some sort of dumb thing where you have to have some kind of passport or something to get on forts now. I think you need like a passport to get on a fort. Well, there's the battlefield. Is that the one you're talking about? The Chickamauga battlefield? Definitely been there. Artisan Tony took us there, me and Haas, when we went down. He put us up in the Chattanooga Choo. That's a hotel now. So I got pictures of the dog someplace in the Chattanooga Choo hotel, sitting in a fancy chair. And then went around and looked at a bunch of gun shops and surplus stores and stuff. And then went to the Fuller Museum there at the Chickamauga battlefield, and then headed south to check out Eric and the Glock and the stuff in Atlanta. Pretty neat. I think I could see going back there, like especially if you had kids or something. Go back there and let them run around a battlefield. I've done too much of that, so I understand it. I didn't like it, but I understand it. So yeah. And I'm sure I went there as a kid. Like I said, I'm pretty sure I've seen all the battlefields. Okay, huge degreaser tank. Interesting. There's this guy named Woods, and he would probably be interested in having access to something like that so that you wouldn't have to be moping around, complaining all the time. All right, well, it's been a fun 2 hours. I'm getting ate by mosquitoes, so we're going to end it. I'll leave the link out here if anybody wants to jump into the after chat, and then that way you can jump in. This is something that we used to do back in the day, so you can jump in here and chat. Otherwise, have a great weekend. We'll probably be doing something tomorrow in order to battle taxes, because kind of alluded to it before, we have had some success in the battle of taxes and bills, but only on the bills end. We have not bitten into the taxes end at all. So I'm going to need to figure out what to do about that, and we'll be acting on that tomorrow. So stay tuned. Might be live, might be Memorex, but either way, it'll be interesting. With that, we'll say again, thanks for watching. I'm going to throw a couple of quick commercials at you, then we'll do the end of the show wrap up. That's the first commercial, so it's the shortest, and that is G23 will be live tomorrow afternoon. Sounds like he wants to do something with reloading, so he's got a couple of people lined up, perhaps. Join in if you want to be part of an actual conversation talking about reloading. On Saturdays, that dude stops interviewing two-way women long enough to talk about barbecue and meats, so that's what they'll do. And check out Alan Anchor. They do stuff, but if you don't want to buy stuff off of them, buy stuff off of us tomorrow. What does it say? Right on. Yeah, thanks for jumping in and throwing some stuff in there to make it interactive. It's always better to have humans in here than the weird bots and creeps and robots and whatnot. So thanks for jumping in. Yeah, you're welcome to jump back anytime. And we'll be back to pick you up later. Does anybody want to see Smeggy or Gizzard? I should have made that a poll. Next time I'll make it a poll. You're going to get Smeggy.
W class every year. Practice at least once a month and carry every day. Thank you for watching. GunWebsites.com. Do 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 do.